Well, good morning. This is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred. Really glad you could join Bailey and I today out here in the vegetable garden. It's a beautiful day here in Pennsylvania, Zone 6. It's middle of July, and you know, I'm going to head down to my pumpkin patch area because my plants and pumpkins and the Hubbard squash are just flourishing down there in all this heat. And so today I wanted to give you a early summer garden update on our blue Hubbard squash plants. And so thanks for joining me today out here in the vegetable garden. So I direct sowed these improved blue Hubbard squash plants. I direct sowed them like a week after our frost date, which is May 15th. You really want to, these are warm weather loving plants, and so you really want to make sure that the frost is passed in the soil. They like nice warm soil. But anyhow, this is the pack of seeds that I purchased, and these blue Hubbard squash, they get really nice and big. You know, you'll get like 2 or 3 from one seed, and they're also really good for storing over winter down your basement. And so, you know, you buy a pack of seeds, and if you planted like 6 of these plants or 8 of these plants, which you could easily do, you know, as long as you have the room, you know, you can just store an amazing amount of blue Hubbard squash down your basement. I also plant the butternut squash, another one of my favorites to overwinter in my garage or down in your basement. And so follow me along and let's go take a early summer update look on these plants. How you doing there, Bailey, my little boy? So let's head down this way below the other end of the pond here. And so these blue Hubbard squash are planted in my 4 raised beds down here below my pond. And I also water these plants down here from my pond. I have a utility pump that I put in the pond. And so the water is a great source for, the pond's a great source for watering these plants. And so these are the 4 raised planter beds that I have. Down here I have also have some acorn squash and some butternut squash growing, and I have some Martin House gourds growing here. I have some Martin House gourds right here, and then some acorn squash here growing, and then over here I have some butternut squash plants growing. And then right along here beside the butternut squash is where I have my blue Hubbard squash growing, and I planted this again, or direct sowed these seeds like the 3rd week of May. And so you can just see how beautiful this plant is growing. Again, these type of plants, you want to make sure that you have plenty of room for them to spread. But you can see under the leaves here I have a couple smaller butternut squash plants starting to develop there on the vine. And then to the right of those little squash I have its bigger brother over there. That's starting to get a nice size, although that's going to be triple that size by the time it finishes. And so let's take a closer look at this beautiful blue Hubbard squash there, nestled under these beautiful leaves that are protecting it from the hot summer sun. And so over here to my left is where I planted I direct sowed some of my zucchini over here too. So I have a nice zucchini plant that I've been able to harvest from for quite some time. But then to the left of the zucchini is where I have my pumpkin plant that I direct sowed there in third week of May. I like growing these for my grandson Hunter. And these type of plants, you know, your pumpkins or your zucchini, they like a good 6 to 8 hours of sun. You know, the more the better. And I also grow these in my composted leaf mulch amended with topsoil. And then I also add alfalfa pellets to them for throughout the season for a slow release fertilizer. And so I just want to thank you for joining me today down here in my pumpkin patch area. And if you have any questions about this video, feel free to leave them in the section below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so you can receive future videos. And also, if you haven't visited our website, you could do so at plantsmartliving.com. So anyhow, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me out here in the vegetable garden. So until next time, this is Plant Smart Living with Farmer Fred.